pleased to announce that the second annual Blake Geoffrion Hockey Classic, featuring alumni from the UW men's hockey program, will take place on June 26th at LaBahn Arena, with the proceeds going to the UW Burns Center. Joining us today are Blake Geoffrion and men's hockey coach Mike Eaves. Blake will have an opening comment before we take some questions for Blake or Coach.
Yeah, just first off, we're really excited this year to have this event again. Unbelievable turnout last year from the fans as well as the players. A lot of positive feedback. Obviously, gave the money to a great cause here in the city of Madison. We've got some unbelievable sponsors backing us this year as well. So really excited to have this for the second year in a row, and we'll continue to hopefully grow this thing bigger and better, and eventually one day, hopefully, we enter the Kohl Center. So,
got microphones on each side of the room.
Hi, Blake. What was the feedback like, not only from maybe the fans that you'd spoken to, but even the players that participated last year?
Yeah, the players were, they loved the event. They thought it was a great time. I was a little personally worried about, kind of how it all would go, and really the feedback from the guys was unbelievable. I mean, guys were really calling me saying, "Hey, are we having this event again? I'd love to be a part of it again." I had a great time, and not only for everyone brought their families back, which is great. And, the reason why me and Coach Eaves talked about this a lot, and one of the reasons why we wanted to do it was a great way to kind of re-engage the community with these guys that, they go on, they play hockey, and they could be from Canada or other, regions where, they don't have a reason to come back to Madison. And that was what we wanted to do, is bring the alumni back, get them re-engaged with the fans, and give the fans an opportunity to see the Ryan Suters, the Ryan McDonoughs, the Derek Stepans of the world that, are playing the NHL, and they come back and able to see them. So a lot of great feedback. The one thing that the fans actually, when we had an area for them to blog about recommendations, was they wanted to have some, there was no females, women's hockey players. And actually we asked all of them last year, but due to the fact that they're all extremely busy, but I'm happy to report this year we have some playing that we'll announce here in a minute. But so great things both ways. Was that a long enough answer for you? Thank you.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Andy.
Blake, obviously last year the goal was to get it established and to kind of get the kinks worked out and make the event go. How would you define success this year?
Yeah, so my biggest thing last year was, like you said, was just to make sure the event ran smoothly. And this year was what I try to focus on was going outside and raising additional money to really, the goal every year is to raise more money and do bigger and better things. And this year we've beat our goal from what I raised in outside sponsorships last year. So that's really, really good. And from the event itself, we have a surprise that's going to be pretty unbelievable. That I haven't even told you about yet.
No, you haven't.
But it's going to be unbelievable. I think it'll shock the sports world really well, and I'm looking forward to releasing that on the day of the event, of course. No, I will not tell you.
You obviously accomplished a lot of things as your player and here when you're at your time at Wisconsin. Can you compare the feeling of satisfaction and what you got out of it, what you were able to accomplish last year, the money you've been able to raise last year and this year to give to the worthy causes you mentioned with the Burns Center?
Yeah, it's funny, when we stepped on the ice last year, I was a little nervous. I mean, it literally felt like I was back in the Kohl Center, that feeling of excitement, of a little bit kind of had butterflies in my stomach. I actually hadn't skated in a while previous to the game, which probably why it took me about 25 shots to score my first goal. Just look, this university, this campus, Coach Eaves, everyone has given me so much, and I wanted to find a way to kind of re-engage everyone, bring it back, and give something back to the community. And when I was trying to find a cause to give this to, Dr. Fauché called me and said, "Hey, look, this is what we're all about. This is what we do." And I was like, this is perfect kind of for who I am, who our program is, how this university is, and how the city supports all of us in giving it back. So I'm just lucky to be able to do this for everyone.
For Coach, your pride, satisfaction level in seeing you have a lot of different reunions over the years, golf outings, whatever, to see the guys, but to see them come together, one of your leaders, former leaders, bring everybody together for a cause like this and put an event like this together.
Yeah, there are a lot of ripple effects from this event. And it started with, Dr. Fauché and an accident that had happened in Madison area, Coach Shuchuk knowing the family, and then a single conversation, and then next thing you know, Dr. Fauché calls you, would you put your name on this and help us? And Blake was just going through what he had gone through. And, you know, the one thing about when you're going through stuff yourself, when you reach out and help other people, it makes your problem seems a little bit smaller. And being able to put Blake's name on this and the things that he was able to do here, I think the fact that guys are looking for an opportunity to get together, the fact that Blake said they can bring their families, their kids, the fact that our fans can see these guys 20 feet away at the LaBahn is a different perspective. And I think that's what we discovered last year. So the ripple effects of all of this are very positive. And I think the biggest problem that Blake's going to have, along with the rest of the guys this year, is what kind of antics are they going to have after they score goals? The things you guys did last year was phenomenal. You got to come up with a few new ones, and I'm really curious to see what this thing you're doing is going to shock the sports world. That's a bold statement right there.
I promise you it will.
Okay.
So the one thing I wanted to add, and I forgot to, as you can tell, I'm talking really fast as usual because I'm excited. So the other thing is that's really cool. One little small detail that I left out, actually it's a big detail, is John Buccigross from ESPN, who's a good friend of mine, will actually be the MC for the event this year. So with his personality, his charisma he brings to the table, I think it'll be pretty cool to have him kind of hosting the event, and his tie to college hockey, and within SportsCenter and ESPN, he's kind of made that his niche, and that's his thing. So when I was talking to him about this event, he was like, absolutely, sounds incredible. So he'll be here for the event as well, which will, it'll really drive kind of our program, what we're all about, and kind of promoting us as well as UW Health Burn Center and the cause that we support, and just the state of Wisconsin and how we all are, and helping us kind of grow the brand, and that kind of thing. So that's another detail that'll be pretty neat.
So is the lineup set? Do you know who's going to be here?
Yeah, so I haven't separated the teams exactly. I haven't stacked my team yet, but I do have the roster here. So I don't know if I should go ahead and read those up. Yeah, so I go ahead and read some of them off. I can get you a list after this. So we have Mike Davies. So two captains are going to be Derek Stepan and Joe Pavelski will be the two captains this year. Changed it up a little bit from Ryan Suter and Adam Burrish last year. So it'll be Derek Stepan and Joe Pavelski with the two captains. So it's Mike Davies, Derek Stepan, Adam Burrish, Brendan Woods, myself, Patrick Johnson, Brad Winchester, Tyler Barnes, Craig Smith, Jake McCabe, Frankie Simonelli, Hillary Knight, Tom Gilbert. There's my surprise. I don't know if you can see that. God, good thing I didn't say that.
I know.
Brian Elliott, Jesse Vetter will be the two goaltenders. We've got a really cool little thing that we'll do with both of them. Robbie Earl, Jeff Likens, Joe Pascula, Jake Gardner, Matt Ford, Nick Herdilles, John Mitchell, Andrew Jodry, Jefferson Dahl, Sean Dolan, Mark Zangerly, and Michael Mersch. Two gentlemen that are kind of question marks at this time. Well, three, I should say. Ryan Suter has a family event. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to attend. Jake Dowell will be having a baby. If he has it before the event, he said he would be there, which is great. And David Charuski is recovering from a wrist injury. And Jack Skilly is also recovering from a shoulder surgery, so we'll see if those guys will be able to play at that time. But that's the roster, as you can see. A lot of guys a couple guys we've lost from last year, and Ryan McDonough will be over in Europe for a charity event and vacationing. And the other big name is obviously Suits with don't know what he's going to do yet. But everyone else, I mean, pretty much every person that's not here that was here last year, I mean, there wasn't an excuse. It was, hey, like I've got a wedding or I'm having a baby or whatever. So. But the feedback was great, like we alluded to earlier. So great roster this year, and really looking forward to it.
You mentioned some of the fans on the blog saying about getting some of the women involved. Did you get feedback from the former Badger women's players that they wanted to get involved and weren't excited about it, whether it was last year or coming into this year?
Well, so I have to be honest with you. It was actually Hillary Knight that responded to me when I was talking to her, and she goes, man, I didn't realize how big of an event this was, or else I would try to make more room in my schedule last year. She's like, I've heard about it throughout the hockey world about this, and she's like, I'm definitely in this year. I'm moving a couple things around, but definitely count me in. I'll be there, et cetera. And once Hillary Knight came on board, I got a call like immediately after from Jesse Vetter, like 2 days later. She's like, hey, do you still have a spot for me? I'm like, yes, I've left you about 12 messages, 17 text messages, and 42 emails. But yes, you're in, of course.
Brad?
Mike, you watched Blake grow up as a young man here over a 4-year period.
I'm still growing up.
We know.
Emotionally.
But just to see, what he's done with his career and where his life is going, and for him to do something like that's pretty special and says a lot about him, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I think being the captain of a team, you know, you're front and center in terms of looking around and seeing what you can do for your teammates. And now Blake is in the real world, so to speak. And one of the prongs that we have within our hockey group is we want them to become fully integrated young men, and part of that is giving back to the community. Blake is still doing that, even though he doesn't wear the W in front of his jersey anymore. It's neat to see young people that learn at an early age what's important and get it. And for him to step back into this role, and he's leading in another vein right now, and we all get the benefit because we get to see all these guys come back. The Burn unit gets the benefit. There's a lot of positives because of this.
Blake, a year ago we talked about you were making the transition into the business world and going from hockey to that. And you mentioned John Buchgrass, who's also now made the transition into the broadcast booth. Has that been what you expected? How has that transition gone? You obviously like to talk and you love hockey, so.
Yeah, absolutely. No, in regards to those two things, yeah, it's been great. It's been, man, it's very different, I would say. John Buchgrass, the way that guy thinks off his feet is, I thought I was good, man. He is on a whole other level. I mean, he's talking on his phone to his wife. He's texting people, and all of a sudden they're like, John, we're on in 3. He goes, yeah, no problem. And then he puts his phone down and he goes. I'm just like, wait, are we live on television? I'm like, hey guys, are we live? Like, I'm like sweating, right, profusely. I think I changed my shirt 3 times the first time I did this, but it's been incredible. It's really, really cool. It's to see another perspective, another industry, how it works. But I've had a lot of fun with it. The funny thing is, I got into I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter, but I got into the game really bad, and I said a word that I probably shouldn't have. Not even that bad of a word. I didn't think of, but the Twitter world thought differently. So that's a whole other thing that I need to get used to. But I just got into the game a little too much, and also the other feedback was when my first game I did was I think it was at Wisconsin. And everyone was like, oh, you're too one-sided. And I'm like, well, come on, give me a break. What do you think? What do you expect? So, but it's been cool. It's been a unique experience, and we'll see what the future holds with that.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, guys.